Hey Skyfarers, and welcome to Aethercast, the Kharadron Overlords dedicated channel and podcast. I'm here with Duard and Max, and we're going to be doing a post-battle recap of Max's game against Godseekers host Slaanesh. Max, you were playing Barak Thryng, weren't you?
Yes, exactly. I was trying out something a little different with some Hearthguard Bezerkers.
Cool. So before we dive into it, we have a little reminder. So Aethercast dice are currently up for pre-order. So if you head over to co-fi.com/Aethercast, you can pre-order some cool dice. There's a choice of 3 colours. £10 for 10 dice. They're 16mm dice. And they come with a nice Aethercast logo on. So if you want to get some of those, you have up until the 9th of May to pre-order. And then after the pre-order ends, from the 9th of May, they will take sort of 5 weeks to make and a couple of weeks for us to ship out. So you'll probably be getting your dice around the end of June. So cool. Let's go into the battle recap. Let's look at the lists.
Yeah. So as we said, I played a Barak Thryng list with a Iron Sky Command battalion. Then the Endeavor Master with Dirigible. He needs to take the trait Supremely Stubborn, which basically means he gets to fight again when slain on a 2+ instead of a 4+. Ether Chemist and the Endeavor Master to complete the requirements for the battalion. Then 10 Arcanauts, 2x 3 Ending Riggers, just for battalion and battle line requirements. A Gun Hauler, because I just always want to have a second ship, a second boat, and the Ironclad. Then we have bound Chronomantic Cogs in a spell in a bottle with the Chemist, because I thought, first of all, it's always fun to have the Ironclad with the Skyhook and the Battle Ram to deal some mortal wounds when charging. The Gun Hauler also got the Spark Torpedo, so again doing mortal wounds when charging. And I thought it might be very handy to have the extra charge bonus from the cogs when using 20 Hearthguard Bezerkers and tunneling them with a Runesmiter. So that's why we have the Auric Runesmiter with the Forge Key. Always take the Forge Key. The Runic Iron is not worth it. It's just an extra melee attack, but his aura for reroll wounds per area, I think is reduced to 12 inches, whereas with the Forge Key it's 18 inches. So it's much easier to keep the Hearthguard Bezerkers once they charge off within that bubble. And then 20 Hearthguard Bezerkers, because 20 is just great because you get the Horde discount for 400 points. If you take 15, that's 360 points. So for 40 points, you get 5 Hearthguard Bezerkers. That's 10 wounds. Mostly, you could count them as 20 wounds because they have a 4+. Feel no pain. So it's just, there's no way not doing it.
Yeah, that's great value. I mean,
it is. Okay. And then now you might wondering, well, you're taking 20 Hearthguard, that's 400 points. That's already your ally limit. Well, remember in Barak Thryng, you can take 1 in 4 Dwarden units, which are not allies, and they gain the Barak Thryng keyword. And since we have, I believe, 10 units here, so we can take these 2 not being allies. If you would have less units, you could always take the Runesmiter as an ally, because the only change is that he won't get the benefits from Barak Thryng keyword, which is rerolling 1s to hit and once per game having exploding 6s. He's not a melee or a shooty character, so it doesn't matter for him.
And you gone for broad axes on the Berserkers?
Exactly, broad axes, because first of all, I think broad axes work well on their own. That's how I play them in Fire Slayer lists. The broad axe unit is always the one that goes on tunneling somewhere, because broad axes have a 1 rend, 2 damage, freeze and freeze. So basically, they're like carbine shots from Ironclad, but just, if you get everyone in, 41 of them. which is massive. The other option would have been the pole axes, which do 2 additional mortal wounds and a hit to 6. But after that, they don't do much. And in Barak Thryng, we have the option once per game, select the Barak Thryng unit, so it applies to these, to have exploding 6s in terms of an extra hit. Well, if you take the pole axes, then that doesn't give you much. It doesn't give you an extra mortal wound or anything. It's just an extra hit with no rend, 1 damage. I apologize for the cats shouting. Then so the broad axes are just better. Having that option and having the reroll ones would have be good on both, but I think broad axes just fare better.
A few things sort of popping up that people are using now that make you reroll 6s as well. So,
exactly. So if you Nurgle, I think the Wither Staff, the artifact makes you reroll 6s. You have Archeon, who makes you reroll 6s. There's a couple of things. So just have that rend and then 2 damage. So if you get a couple of through and then have the rend, that's awesome. Especially since you're not playing Fire Slayer Legion, so you don't have access to additional rend that you can put on these weapons. 2,000 points. So often I like to have less than 2,000 points for a triumph, but it just pained out this. You could debate the Endrin Master with Endrin Harness to take another Chemist to maybe get below points, but the Endrin Master with his hammer inside the Ironclad is just a fun thing. You ram it in and then he just beats people with his hammer. It's 4 drops. Which is maybe 1 more than I'd like to have in my usual lists. However, because of the tunneling ability of the Runesmiter, you can set up the Runesmiter in reserve and then a second Fire Slayer unit, so you have 2 dead drops before you set down anything. So that's I think that
useful.
That kind of compensates that.
And then lastly, if you're watching, you think, there isn't a wizard to manipulate the cogs. That's because it's bound Chronomantic Cogs. So the wording on that is different. It specifies that the caster can manipulate the cogs rather than a wizard. So it doesn't have the wizard keyword. So basically, the chemist with spell in the bottle can manipulate that.
Exactly, because the text says he casts, which I think the rule intended there is he becomes the caster. Yeah. So that's 2,000 points. 112 wounds, obviously, because of the Hearthguard Bezerkers, which is, I think, more than your average Kharadron list.
Yeah.
And then Hearthguard Bezerkers have a innate 6+ feel no pain, but if there's a Fire Slayer hero within 10 inches, just within, they get a 4+ feel no pain. So you can count those 40 wounds basically as, another 20, so like 60 wounds.
It's pretty durable.
So that's a lot of wounds.
More durable than KO would normally be.
Definitely.
Let's move on to Martin's list.
So Martin, we've seen his army before in our live battle report. He changed up stuff. A Keeper of Secrets again. The general, it's a Godseeker host, so +1 to charge, which will be a bit troublesome if you give them another +2 move and +2 charge with Cogs, because obviously both opponents benefit from that effect. His Keeper of Secrets is a Trail Sniffer, which I believe gives him some bonus when he's in the opponent's territory. His spell is the Progeny of Damnation, and his artifact is the Cameo of the Dark Prince. But artifacts for Keeper of Secrets aren't that important because they often tend to sacrifice them turn 1 onto their Fane, and then they're just gone. Then a Bladebringer Herald on Exalted Chariot. That's the Demonite hero on the big chariot. Vice Leader, Kharadron Slaanesh, which is just a small Demonite hero, and the Contorted Epitome. Then as battle line, 4 times 10 Demonites and 5 Seekers. the Supreme Sybarite Battalion, which includes all the heroes and gives him command points. I believe if he rolls under the number of heroes in that battalion on the battlefield. And then we have some endless spells, Balewind Vortex, Prismatic Palisade, obviously very useful against shooting, and an extra command point because he was down to 1950, and there was no other endless spell that we thought was useful, so just an extra command point. 94 wounds, so much less. Most of these are on a 5+ save, some on a 4+. So quite squishy, as Slaanesh is, but very fast.
And the spell that the two heroes have is one where they can roll. They target an enemy unit and they roll a dice or a number of dice equal to the number of models in the unit. So, and then on 6s, it does D3 mortal wounds. So probably we're trying to target the Hearthguard probably with that because it's the only sort of sizable unit we had.
Hearthguard or 10 Arcanauts, yeah. Because it's a 6, but then D3, so you can take out a couple with mortal wounds.
Yeah. So
basically, those were the lists. Not your overly competitive lists, but it was a fun game on a Saturday. It was nice to try out.
Well, I mean, we're seeing that Thryng is potentially quite competitive, actually, if with the right list. So, and I don't think I can't remember exactly what Marcus had in his list, but it's. I mean, I think he had 20 Hearthguard Bezerkers. So.
20 Hearthguard Bezerkers are never the wrong answer, but it is quite a point investment.
Yeah. So for anyone not sure what we're referring to Marcus in Hammer Time 8 come second this weekend just gone with a Barak Thryng list. Went 5-0. So
and before that at the TTS Battle of Copenhagen, I think he came third also with a Thryng list, a bit different, but again, it can compete.
Yes, definitely. And we're going to have Marcus on at the weekend, so we're having a Thryng-filled week.
Thryng week.
Yes. Cool. Let's have a look at how you both deployed then.
Yes, so we are playing Blade's Edge. Is that the name? Yeah. And so one of the new, I say new ones, but the GHP's been some time now. Where we have 6 objectives, rather close in the middle, which obviously suits Hearthguard Bezerkers because once they get out of the tunnel, they have a 4-inch move, as all Dwarden have, if they're not strapped to a balloon. And this deployment is just a 12-inch deep deployment, so you're 6 inches away from actually the objectives. Usually I tend to give the first turn away, and we are quite far away, 24 inches. So actually, that's I was wrong. The deployment actually goes straight to the edge of the objective, but I chose to deploy it a bit further back because obviously the Slaanesh army has access to run and charge. They get +1 to charge. So the threat range of a keeper is somewhere around 27 inches, I think, because he moves 14. Then he could charge 12 +1, 26, 27 inches.
Okay. So did you measure how far you went back? Like, was it like 3 inches back or?
I kind of more or less, because you could go all the way back like 3 inches, but that requires a charge of 12, which is not very probable. So I tend to not go all the way to the edge, and more importantly, I want to be still able to run my unit onto the objective
Mhm.
hopefully without spending a command point.
Yeah, because not being Sylphin, you don't get that
Exactly.
auto 6.
Yeah. So I deployed my Ironclad in the middle with my Endermaster General next to it. Then the 2 units of free engine riggers close by within 6, so I could fly high. And then on this side, I had a kind of a screen with the Arcanauts, but close enough to actually. I deployed them in between the 2 objectives, so I could run them maybe onto both and capture both.
Mm-hmm.
And then the chemist behind. I think I kept him in within 12 of the Endermaster for his buff, but also within 12 of the Arcanauts. So I had the option who to buff with his free rig augmentation. Whereas Martin, he basically kind of distributed evenly his demonettes. So over here, he kind of screened back here to avoid being offered from behind. Demonettes here and then demonettes here on this terrain piece, so he can obviously move them or even run them onto the next objective. They can run in charge. They move 6 and run 6, so he could not reach with the demonettes onto my side of the objectives.
Yeah.
Furthest he could go would be the middle one. So I'm drawing a couple.
So it looks like if you had wanted to, there's probably some space in the corners of his deployment zone. If you had wanted to.
Yes, but the thing is, people often, kind of screen back here, the back corners. If the objectives are here in the middle, why would I ever go back there?
So he was really worried about protecting his middle, essentially.
Yeah, his middle, and I think he suspected me giving him the first turn anyway, so he was not too worried. Yeah, then obviously the Fane back here next to the Keeper, and then we have a Demon. Did we mention the Demon Prince in the list? No, we did not. There's a Slaves to Darkness Slaanesh Demon Prince as well in this list. I think we missed him. Yeah, he's missing in the list.
Sorry.
There's a Demon Prince in here because he's cool. Cool Demon Prince. He can do some damage.
And with the terrain at the back behind the Keeper, it's like, would you have been able to fit behind the Keeper?
Fit behind the Keeper 9 inches away?
High, yeah. Or was there just not enough? But it looks like there's probably not enough space.
This is 12 inches. Probably not. Not. I don't think so. We have the contorted epitome here in the middle. And then I gave him first turn because I felt rather safe. So his first turn, after his hero phase, he cast the Prismatic Palisade here in the middle, kind of to block movement. His goal was probably because he did that in our last game, to get the contorted epitome into this terrain piece and then use the Balewind Vortex to dominate these 4 objectives here in this area with then the extended spell range. So he didn't want to block that way. And then moving up, there was no way for me to land in this area behind the wall if I came from the front. We should have mentioned I selected the Demon Prince, the Contorted Epitome, and the Keeper as my grudged targets for reroll 1s to hit for all Barak Thryng units, including the Hearthguard. And basically that was his phase. I think he cast a Mystic Shield on the Keeper. Keeper sacrificed his artifact, and that was it. And we got the palisade out. Not much more happening. Not much in range.
Mhm.
Movement, we can see, yeah, everything moves forward very
Big
fast.
changes.
Big changes. We can see this unit of Daemonites in the middle. As I said previously, the furthest they can go is exactly the halfway of the table.
Mhm.
We have the contorted epitome that run into the terrain to get an extra save. We were not using any terrain rules because it's just, you know, another thing you keep to forget. What I forgot is that these seekers, they can run 2d6. So they they came in very fast down here, which I forgot. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. And then we have a little team over here, Demonettes, with the Demon Prince on their objective, kind of screening it out so I cannot land on behind him. And then the Herald on the Chariot, also running forward. It only moves 10 inches, but it managed to get onto this objective as well. Keeper run forward. These Demonettes kind of screening him from the sides. So he's capping at least 5 of the objectives, which is a very viable plan in this battle plan, especially because with rounds passing, opponents can remove objectives. So if you get ahead in points, it might be very hard to catch up towards the end because there's less and less objectives available to score. So yeah, obviously pardon me?
I was going to say, one of the things I noticed he's done with his Demonettes is the way he's positioned them on the objectives means that even if you do manage to charge them, because obviously you have cogs, and if you fly, that you wouldn't actually get, most likely you wouldn't get models onto the objectives anyway.
Not many,
unless you manage to pile in onto it, obviously. But because they're right on the edge of the,
exactly, that's what was he trying to do, yeah. Okay, then obviously what happened, there's no shooting in this list, I think. So we have a charge happening here. Obviously, poor Arcanauts taking the brunt of the charge.
What charge did he need? It was 6-ish?
Not even.
Less?
Maybe 4. He gets +1, so it wasn't hard. He could reroll because the keeper is his general. It was an easy charge. Yeah, they have a ban. I can reroll charges. It was easy. He just kept one behind to actually cap the objective, not move off the objective.
Smart.
And he moved in here. Because it was the only fight, and I mean they're Arcanauts. I burned the goal to reroll saves to maybe salvage a couple. And we can see at the end of his turn there's 3 left. These white markers that we see, this is we use for depravity. And they actually, if I go back, yeah, the Arcanauts actually managed to kill one.
Yeah.
So
that's surprising.
yeah, I mean they have 2 wounds and a 5+ save. So.
Yeah.
I think it was the Sky Pike. This guy here. I had to remove. So yeah, that was it. He scored, as I said, 5 victory points. Was right in front of me. 5 points for Martin. Yep.
Cool. It's a good score to start with. So
definitely.
But not very damaging to you. Losing some Arcanauts is not.
I mean, yeah, Arcanauts, but I mean it's units that can score. It's one of my 2 units that actually has bodies. So yeah, that was a bit annoying, but okay. Yeah, if you want to check out Martin's miniatures in more detail, make sure to visit his Instagram, Martin Paints. He has loads of very cool painted minis, 40k, 30k, AOS, all that stuff. I believe his Black Coach from Night On was actually featured on the Games Workshop shop site once as the picture. So he's a very good painter. Go check him out.
Cool.
So my turn. My first turn. Kind of a summary. Hero phase. Not much happened. What I did is I buffed my general, who's then flown high with the Ironclad. He's hiding back here. That's everything that happened. I pulled out the Chronomantic Cogs because I said, okay, I need to get into the action now. I had to pull out my Hearthguard Bezerkers here in the middle, which was not my favorite to do, because first I need to go around this stupid wall, which is on my in my path. So he kind of forced me to get them out, because there was no real place to put them back here. Unfortunately, there was no space due to screening, and that was kind of the only. And I didn't want to put them on the outskirt over here, because then if he later removes one of these two objectives, then they're just out of the game. So my preferred position for Hearthguard was in the middle, where they can either go left or right to fight. What else? The chemist just moved over here to be able to shoot these guys. The 3 Arcanauts, they ran from combat, because they're not going to survive there. Let's get them onto the objectives to actually score a point, because they're still free bodies. And he's one. I should have said I used the command point to battle shock immune them.
But they're not in range of the Ironclad.
I don't think they were completely in range. Could have been. I'm not sure. But yeah, they didn't run.
On the left there, the gun hauler and the riggers. Did the riggers fly there, or did they?
No, everyone flew.
I was going to say, because if not,
so they can move.
Because they can't hitch onto terrain. So
no, they moved. They moved 14 inches up here into the terrain, so I can either shoot over here on this side, or I can pick some targets over here, just to the side of the wall, or even I think I could have even shot through here to maybe target the keeper with the long range weapons.
You would have been able to shoot through the palisade.
Yeah, the view is a bit distorted. They were kind of behind the palisade.
Oh, okay. So you weren't with those the riggers on the right. You weren't tempted to put them onto the objective as well to have more bodies on it?
No, because he has one body on it. So I just put these 3. I didn't manage to get them all into terrain over here, but just 3. And I wasn't quite sure how to tackle this, because I knew I wasn't gonna kill this Herald. And when he charges, he does a lot of mortal wounds. So what I tried is to kind of keep the gun hunter on the objective and in shooting range, but as far away as possible, but still scoring. On this side, I wasn't quite sure what to do, so it was kind of a half-cooked solution that I came up with. Over here, I knew I needed to get rid of, obviously, the Seekers. So I had the Ironclad. With his screening, it had to be quite far away, so I was not able to shoot my carbines into the keeper, but I was able to either shoot them into these Daemonites up here, or into the Seekers. And because I have a charging mortal wound ramming Ironclad, I chose not to shoot them at the Daemonites, because if he removes Daemonites, then from in front of me, I'm out of charging range, and I'll just sit there, because I actually want to get onto the objective somehow. So shooting happened, and we can see no more Seekers. This is shooting and charging, actually. We can see the Fire Slayers made it with, I think, a 11 or a 12-inch charge, so it was great. The one left behind is not a Hearthguard, but he's actually a Runesmiter, but they all look alike. Still within 10, and they are still within 18 to give him his, then next turn, the Prayer for Reroll Wounds, should I get a double. So that was cool. They got in, these got deleted. I managed to shoot a couple of wounds of the Keeper and then charge first my Ender Master onto the Daemonettes, actually over them, and then the Ironclad in, and the Ironclad with the mortal wounds did enough to kill all these guys. And what he did maybe was not too smart, or maybe I would have done differently. He removed the Daemonettes from behind me, which allowed me to pile towards the Keeper because I charged. But I think he removed them from front to keep these 4 safe to outscore me on the objective.
Yeah.
To still keep the objective. Very luckily, I managed to get the Hearthguard into the Epitome, and they have 2-inch reach on their weapons, so that's good. And it's always important to charge Slaanesh like properly. Do not rely on the piling, because they can stop you now from piling in with their new locus of diversion. So often the way you charge is the way you're gonna fight, like the position.
With the Berserkers, did you manage to get any of them so they're onto the objective?
Yeah, I think I managed three models or 4, like in between the Daemonettes. Yeah. Then here again, I was not quite sure what to do. I thought, okay, I need to stop this. I shot at the Daemonettes here because I wanted to remove bodies that score. So I got rid of them with the shooting, and then I charged the Herald to stop it there in its tracks, because when it's not charging, it does much less damage. And these guys charged to kind of create a wall to stop the Demon Prince to get into my Gunholder. He then locused a couple of units. He locused the Hearthguard, which is obviously annoying because they cannot pile in. But however, he failed his role to make them fight after the Epitome. So unless the Epitome didn't fight, they can't fight. But he didn't manage to pull that ability off, which was lucky for me. He locused these 3 riggers over here, which was fine for me because I didn't want to pile them in anyway. I wanted to string them out. And I think that was it. The Keeper was not in combat after my charge phase, so he could not use his ability. And he was also, I made sure he was not in combat with the Hearthguard over here. We can actually see the 3-inch ruler. So no bombs because the ships are out of range. The ship itself actually is more than 4 inches away, so there's no chance for me to get into the Keeper and fight him with the Ender Master inside the ship. What I did is I managed to obviously explode these 10 Daemonettes here in the middle. I managed to overkill the Epitome, 1 rend, re-rolling 1s against the Epitome as well. I've used the Thryng once per game ability to have exploding 6s also, and I think I did like 30 wounds to the Epitome or something. It's just bananas. Maybe I didn't need to do that. But yeah, Hearthguard Bezerkers are. Now, what happened here, what we can see is I managed to pile in the Ender Master into the Keeper. Now, he's rerolling 1s. He has a +1 hit on his weapon, so 2s, rerolling 1s, 2s, rerolling 1s from the Chemist buff, 2 rend, D3 damage, and any 6 to wound is a D3 additional mortal wounds. So he's quite a little combat beast now against this keeper. And I think I got the keeper between the shooting and him. I got him down to maybe, I'm not sure, but 2 wounds left. Or 3 wounds left.
In retrospect, it might have been better to use the Thryng footnote on him.
No, because it's only 3 attacks. To get a 6 there is not very probable. To get 6s on, like 30 attacks is much more probable. You get much more out of it.
Yeah. Mathematically, it obviously makes far more sense. But then you said you overkilled.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, I did, but I just wanted to make sure to get rid of these people. So yeah, that was what I actually, because the keeper was so low on wounds, I wanted him to pile in towards me and maybe attack the general. So if he gets killed on 2+, he can fight again and then finish him off.
Mm-hmm.
But he chose to attack the Ironclad. So I think he didn't roll very well. I think he dealt like a couple of wounds, maybe 4 or 5 wounds.
That bring your Endra Master into combat though, inside the boat?
Yeah, it did. And I think actually he dealt 3 mortal wounds back. So I think the keeper at this point he was on a wound or 2 wounds. So he got quite smacked about by this team over here. On the other hand, the Herald has an ability where at start of combat they can do some mortal wounds, and I think he with that he killed the little guy, and then maybe whipped another engine rigger to death over here. No, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So that scored me 4 points. Yes, 1, 2, 3, and 4 because he still had these demonettes up there, so maybe not the worst of choices.
So that's pretty close on the central one on his side. I'd imagine if he had positioned his other demonettes.
Yeah, but he couldn't get. I would have always had like a tiny foot on. Maybe I think I had these 4s. These 4 actually managed to get on.
Yeah, but what I mean is he only had 2 on. Like if he'd put more on to begin with.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't think he expected me. I got a long charge around the wall.
Yeah,
that was lucky.
I mean, yeah, because even with Cogs, you would have still needed a 7. So
yeah, a 7. But even these, I think had a 11 or a 12 inch charge, so quite far. Yeah, so that's 5-4 for him. We rolled off. He got priority. And I chose not to remove any objective just because I was behind and I wanted the opportunity to score more points later. Then we go into his turn. We skipped the hero phase because not much happened. I think the keeper failed his cast. What we can see here is on this side, the Demon Prince he can fly, and he now has a +2 move. So he jumped over those engine riggers, which was obviously, my plan to stop him from doing that, but he managed. He then, because he was far out, he summoned a chariot, I think back here somewhere, which then obviously moved in. So that was a bit dangerous for the gun hauler. And what else? We can see this unit here, kind of moving down here to attack my my Rune Smiter in the center. So they were able to move. They can run and charge. So I think they also ran. So with a +3, they can now charge him because of Cogs and their innate +1 from Godseeker host. And the demonettes from up here, they did the same. They ran around and charged to get models onto the objective. I think someone did some mortal wounds onto onto my my Arcanaut, so there's only one left there.
Mhm.
So his plan is to get around the ship and score my objective.
Is there any healing from any of his heroes? I think some of them have.
Yeah, the keeper has a healing spell, and he healed himself up. I think 1 wound or 2. But my plan was, be in combat with him. I'm gonna hopefully kill him.
Okay. Cool. So, and then did he
And
charge?
then
Did he
this
charge with
happened.
those other daemons?
Yeah, he charged this conga line down into my runesmith with the hero and the demonites. He charged with both the chariot and the demon prince into the gunholder, and he charged the demonites into the boat around onto the objective. We already seen that. Now my plan was to bomb the demonites, hopefully, to kill them, and then attack them with the ship, maybe, or the Endry Master inside, and have my general Endry Master to kill the keeper. That was my hope. And obviously, I would need to spend the gold on the gunholder just to try to keep him alive from that onslaught down there. The runesmith, there is not much I can do for him. It's just, pray. So what happened? Everyone piled in, and we can see there's a big big hole back here. What happened was the bombs and the ironclad fighting killed the demonites. My general was slain by the keeper, and I rolled a 1 for his supremely stubborn. So he did not come back and fight, but then the Endry Master in the ship smacked 3 mortal wounds with his hammer onto the keeper and killed him. So that was great to remove both threats on this side. So I own these 2 objectives, one with the Arcanaut, the other one with the Ironclad. And in the middle, surprisingly, the Runesmiter lived. He has I think 5 wounds on a 4+ save, but magically he managed to survive. And also the gunholder survived, I believe, on 3 wounds with rerolling saves. Yeah, he managed to survive there. So that was good for me.
But
scores.
His demonites outnumbered your half guard.
Yeah. But by 2 models. So if the runesmiter would have killed like maybe 1 or 2, would have been better. So yeah, he now owns these 3 objectives, and that puts him in the lead, 8 points to my 4. Now in my turn, what I did, I disengaged the gunholder. I think the chemist only buffed himself and moved up down here to shoot at the demonites. I disengaged the gunholder because I was not going to take another round of combat with a demon prince.
Were you not tempted to disengage the gun hauler up to the objective that the Ironclad went?
That would have been a fly high. But what I wanted to do is keep him down here to maybe have the option to shoot at the demonites.
Okay.
So I wanted to keep him like down here to either shoot over here or over there. The Ironclad flew high up here to capture this objective and hopefully kill this chariot. And then the little lonely Arcanaut, he just ran as far away as possible from the demonites, just to secure that one, in case he summons something from the Fane up here. Because obviously you think you're beating Slaanesh and killed everything, and then just stuff comes back with summoning. There's only a couple of heroes. This Demon Prince, he's here, so there's still some summoning happening. Okay, after shooting, we can see there's a chariot less.
It looks like we've had charges as
Obviously,
well.
yeah, which it is after shooting and charge.
Yeah.
Now the Ironclad is left with no one to charge. But that's okay. The Hearthguard moved back down, charged, and slaughtered everyone. The Runesmiter is still alive in the middle there. And I think it took a couple of wounds off these two. I might have shot the 24-inch shots as well down here somewhere. So yeah, I was quite happy, quite pleased with that.
So then you scored 5.
That scores me, 5 points. Everything except this lower one on the left side, putting me in the lead finally. Now we rolled off again, and again I did not win priority. So what I did, I removed this objective up here, so next to his Fane, where he can actually summon units onto. Because I was sure I was not able to keep that. What he did, he summoned another epitome up here because of casting, so he can still use his Balewind and start casting stuff from there.
And get a model on that objective as well. So
yeah, get him on the objective as well, and far away from a Hearthguard. And then he moved everyone up here to get the Ironclad and get this objective back, because he already owns this one. Now he's trying to get this one back to score some points. We can see here he's already charging in now, which he did, charged in, but I think he got some mortals from bombs, but then nothing else much happened. Nothing died yet. So yeah, 11 to my 9 points. My third turn. Now I disengage the Ironclad back onto this objective to be in range of the epitome and these guys to shoot them. Because if I cannot charge the Ironclad, there's no reason to keep it in melee, because the melee attacks won't do much. And I think at this point already the Ender Master. I'm not sure. Maybe he killed him with the Demon Prince. And then I moved the Gunhauler up here. Actually, I think I used his +6 move in this phase to actually get him as close as possible onto both objectives. Hearthguard moved up, Chemist moved up, Runesmiter moved up, and this guy just moved down to the very edge of the objective. Well, what happened next is a single greater Skyhook shot into the epitome that killed it with flat 6 damage. I used the Spar Torpedo on the Gunhauler to kill off the little chariot, and I think the remaining shooting from the Ironclad killed the Demon Prince. And that's basically his army. And at this point, he only has 2 depravity points, so not enough to summon anything. We still have 2 turns to play, but he cannot summon anything, so he's not scoring anything. I own all the objectives, so we stopped the game here. I would have scored, depending who got second. Priority, obviously, if I got priority, I would have given it away. If I got second, I would have not removed anything, so scoring me another 10 points, putting me at a total of, if this were a tournament, that's 23 to 11 points. Yeah, basically that was the game.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about the list after playing it?
So I played the battle round with Skyhook and Cogs now quite often, and it never disappoints. It's always like 5, 6, 7 mortal wounds that you can put out, then add bombs. If you're still in 1-inch range, and then if that's not enough, you can have the Ender Master.
Mhm.
What I really liked in this list is the general Ender Master with Dirigible. If he's attacking one of your grudge targets, he's on 2s, re-rolling 1s on 2s. In my case, another re-rolling 1s from the Chemist buff. 2 Ren D3 with chance for some mortals. Normally he's on 3s and 2s, and I manage to always roll 2s, at least 1-2 for his attacks, and that's a shame because that's for 1/3 of his output. But with this combination now, he's much more reliable.
Potentially more survivable. It didn't work.
Potentially, well, not survivable, but at least he can hit back. He's still slain.
Yes.
He's not on that he is get resurrected, but if you roll a 1, then shame on you. So I like that. And to have that, usually this battle would be, dance around the edges, start shooting people, jump from one objectives to the other one, and try to score. In this case, if you have the Hearthguard Berserker block in the middle, just dominating, they can just, wipe out half of the army if it's in range. So that's always great, but it doesn't leave you with much else. It leaves you with Arcanauts, 2 MSU units of Ending Riggers, and basically that's it. And if you choose to go Battalion, which you need to get Spell in the Bottle, then you need to invest in Cogs. So there's not much left apart from an Ironclad and the Hearthguard with the Rune Smasher. There's not much bodies, and KO are already low on bodies, so building Thryng list always feels like, I have this big block of Hearthguard, and then there's not much left to build a list around it. But it worked. It's fine. You have the shooting, you have the combat threat. Obviously, the tunneling helps to keep up with the speed of the ships. And the +2 charge makes Hearthguard reliable. They have a hero nearby to reroll the charge. If I play Fire Slayers, I use the tunneling for Hearthguard, but not to alpha charge someone. I use it to place them onto an objective or to threaten someone. But they're never gonna be very likely to make that 9-inch charge. But now it's a 7-inch, or you need a roll of 7 to make a 9-inch charge. That's much more reliable. So that's a nice combo, and bound Cogs with Spell and Bottle are guaranteed. So it's a reliable combo. Basically, that's what I liked about the list. As I said, the 3 Ending Rigger MSU, they were there to have a bit of shooting, maybe distract someone. Maybe they would have been better with grapnels, to keep someone from tag someone on the edges and keep them from disengaging. But they're just there for backline. Could have worked the same with more Arcanauts, to be honest.
Yeah, it would have been higher drop.
Higher drop, but lower points.
No, I think it's good. I like the I think a big block of Hearthguard, pretty handy, especially on a battle plan like this where you can put them in the middle. And because you said at the beginning you weren't that keen on putting them in the middle, but I think that's the best place to put them.
I wasn't keen to put them so far back on my end down here.
Yeah.
I obviously wanted them to be, somewhere in the middle, because you can pop up in terrain. So you could have put them like in here, but obviously he screened on zone out that area, and I wasn't able to get behind him, so I had to put them in front of this wall. I wasn't keen to put them on the sides. Could have put them down here, charge the chariot, but then they're over there. What are they doing there the rest of the game?
The middle is the best place for them, because like you said, normally KO would be dancing around the edges.
Yep.
So the fact that they can then hold the center while you can then dance around the edges with your other stuff is handy.
Yep, definitely. But we'll hopefully learn more from Marcus on our show on Saturday about Thryng's list. He went through some iterations between tournaments with different approaches. So will be interesting to see. I also thought about taking just 10 Hearthguard because 10, let's be honest, 10 can do a lot of damage just being 10. But then you're down to with a Rune Smiter to what are they? 240, 360 points. So then why go Thryng? You could stick them in a Zilfin list.
Yeah.
For example. The only nice thing here is they get a reroll once and they benefit from that exploding 6s once per turn.
And Cogs as well. Yeah, they could get that.
Yeah, they could get Cogs in any other list.
Yeah.
So that'd be, if you want the big block, you probably need to go Thryng just because they're 400 points themselves already.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess the other option is Volkites, but they don't have the 4+ after save, so.
No, they can do some mortals on the charge. They get +1 to charges, so you're on a +3. They are bodies, but without buffs, without extra rend and command abilities they have access to in Fire Slayer Allegiance. They tend to they didn't die very quickly. Yes, there are 2 wounds, but for Hearthguard, just for the job to sit and kill or be defensive, Hearthguard are better because of the 4+ after save, and they're better fighting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're far better units. So,
I mean, yeah, they're more expensive, but
it's worth
they
it.
are the better the Warden.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I think that's everything. So yeah, I hope people enjoyed this format of battle recap.
Yeah.
We're trying to do some more because we can't film every battle report, unfortunately, every game. But, yeah, hopefully it's something we can do more of. Yeah, so if you enjoyed the video, hit like, hit subscribe, and don't forget to, if you want some Aethercast dice, go check out the Ko-Fi. There's a link in the description.
Yeah, if you have any suggestions on format, leave them in the comments.
Yeah.
Obviously, these are much easier to make because it's just me taking pictures after each other phase, whereas filming takes much more time. But I know filming is probably more enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone.
Bye bye.